So with that, I'll invite the youth up today. Just as a little preface, the youth over the past week have been on their mission with United Methodist Army, working, I believe, in Bracketville. And they're here to share their stories and what they learned and what they saw and where they saw God. So with that, youth.
Morning. So just to preface this, a lot of you know what Army is, but it's just for those who don't, it's a service camp where we go out to different locations, different places, and we can do work for them and do work for people who needs it, and we stay at a church or a civic center in some cases and get our food prepared for us. So with this one, we returned to to Bracketville, which was our Army destination last year. This one was a different group of kids, but it was really good, I'd say. So my group, we weren't with all the youth. We were with a church from Denton and Argyle, which were way out. They drove like 8 hours to get to there. We only drove 3. My group did house repairs on an older fellow's house, and we replaced walls, we replaced insulation, did kitchen flooring because it was all rotted up, painted ceiling, and a lot of that stuff. And it was really something because it was an older man. You can see that he was trying to do this stuff himself, but I believe that his wife had just died, and he was just kind of falling behind with it. There was also a small child that must have been his grandson, that would just wander through and watch us, and he never spoke to us at all, but you could see him stand there and he would smile at us and stuff. It was really something. We would then, after our maybe 5-hour workday, 6-hour workday in upwards of 100 degrees, we would go to a shower house, which was a family's house that they would let us use their shower afterwards because we didn't have one at the Civic Center or at the churches or anything. And our shower host was actually, by just luck, the same one that we had last year. And they were so kind to us. They gave us, I think they bought out all the ice cream in Bracketville. And we sure did eat it. And as well as that, we read the prayer partners and letters, and we had the snacks that our church had given to us, which was just wonderful as an encouragement. Now, last year when I was at Bracketville, it was a lot of experienced people, a lot of people that did mission trips before, and I was a freshman going into sophomore year. First time doing it, I was kind of sketched out a little bit. I was like, I'm not sure what's going on here. But by the end of, at the beginning of the week, I was like, I don't know if I really want to be here. This is kind of weird. But then by the end of the week, I had really realized, and it was very self-reflective and changed really the way that I had seen God in the people and really in myself and how I looked at that. This year, I returned to that sentiment of I don't really know if I want to be here that Monday morning that I got in. And then it was Wednesday, and we had gotten to know all the churches, or most of the church that was there, and we had kind of stopped being the separate San Marcos, Argyle, and Denton, and we'd kind of just moved into a whole new thing as Army Bracketville. It was Wednesday, and we were in service, and I think it was the morning service before we were going to go get breakfast. And we were singing, and I just kind of took a step back and looked at the outlines of the heads around me and the people there. And I kind of, if last year was where I looked at the self-reflection in myself, this year was much more I looked at the reflection of the youth, United Methodist youth, and the Christian community, and this next generation. And I think it was really something special that I just kind of took a step back.
Good morning. So this past week in Bracketville for Army was my first major mission trip ever. So to under-exaggerate. I was pretty nervous, and when I realized that like we were split up with people that I never met before, had no idea who they were, from Denton, from Argyle, who were some of them older, some of them much more experienced. I was very nervous. But my work team, our main job was to take down a wheelchair ramp for this man because it was in really bad condition. He could not go down it without it tearing apart, and our job was to rebuild a new one for him. Our homeowner had lost his leg, and on the first day, we took down the entire ramp, and after we took it down, it was about lunchtime, and we had a devotional to do. We had a devotional every day that we could invite our homeowner to join us if we wanted to. So we knocked on the door, and we said, "Hey, would you like to do the devotional with us today?" And he was like, "Yes, absolutely." And this man had already shown us so much kindness. He made us cookies. He said he couldn't eat sugar, but he made cookies just for us to eat. And him and his wife made us lemonade just to make sure that we had enough fluids in the hot 100-degree weather. And then he joined us for the devotional, and we were reading some scripture, and we were doing some discussion questions. And then after not even knowing us for a few hours, he decides to share his story with us about how he lost his leg. And we were, as he started this, we were shocked because we were like, we don't even know this man. And he began to tell us that he used to be an airplane pilot, and one day they just landed the plane, and somehow it erupted in flames. The whole plane catch fire, and he was completely stuck with no way to get out. There was flames all around him. There was someone right outside his window who was trying to get him out, and as he was trying to get him out, the man who's outside the plane is freaking out and doesn't know what to do, so the only thing he can think of is to yell and to scream, "Lord, please help this man. Lord, please help him." And as he says that, the flames died down just enough for a man to pull our homeowner out of the plane and save him. As soon as he pulls him out, the whole plane erupts in fire, and it's completely destroyed. He lost his leg, but other than that, he survived perfectly healthy. And as he finishes this story, our homeowner is in absolute tears. He is so emotional, understandably, and we had no idea what to say, but he said the only thing left that he could say to us was just always trust God, always put your faith in him, and trust him no matter what, because he is so powerful. And I know through that story, God talked to us, all of us in our work group, through our amazing homeowner. And it impacted us for the rest of the week. It gave us motivation. It gave us so much, and we wanted to share that story with everyone else. So that's one of the ways that I saw God and his amazing love throughout this whole week. But also, at our host showers, like Martin said, our host showers were different, but they were also super kind, and they gave us cookies and chips, and we ate all of that. We were exhausted. We were definitely happy to eat after that long day. But every single day, all 9 of us would just show up to their house, and we would get some amazing snacks, and they would let us watch The Office in their living room and nap for a little bit. So that was like the best part about my day, but they're super kind. And then also it was amazing to get a prayer partner from the church who gave every single youth that went to Army a basket with prayer cards and gifts. I personally got a card with a prayer for every single day of the week, with a little snack for every single day of that week. And I'm so grateful for that. And it gave me a lot of motivation. And it reminded me that we have support from back here. And it's just amazing. So I'm so glad that I was given this opportunity to serve God and to meet new people from all over. And I would definitely do it again.
Okay. So I was given, our group finished 2 job sites. The first one we built a wall for these people. They took out their garage door because they wanted to use their garage as storage instead of a car garage. So we were building them a wall to enclose their garage. They called upon the Army to help build the wall because the lady who lived there, she had broken her back several times, and she was in 3 car crashes, and she had some pretty bad medical bills, and her husband was also busy working, and they had a daughter. And another reason they wanted us to build a wall instead of just a garage door was so that we could put a door in, because their daughter's room was right behind the garage, and they wanted to have safety for their daughter in form of a door with a lock and a deadbolt. Our second job was we built a handrail for some stairs because there was a lady that lived there who was just having some serious medical issues. Because of the extreme medical bills, her husband was working 3 jobs, and he didn't have any time to build it himself. At the time we were building it, she was in Laredo, which was about 3 hours away, receiving some pretty hefty medical treatments and stuff. And while she was there, her son actually came to one of the other group's job sites, and he offered them money to build the handrail because he really wanted it done because his dad couldn't do it. But they obviously said no because they can't take money. And he wanted her to come home to a surprise and having that handrail there. But they gave him an application form and told him how to apply for a job. So he went through with that, and it actually got approved last minute. And we were able to work on this and surprise the lady with the handrail. But one of the main things that I really enjoyed, obviously, was the showers after a hot day of work. And we had a shower lady named Miss Kathy, who was very generous, and she cooked for us every day dinner, even though we were eating dinner at the community center afterwards. She made us pulled pork sandwiches, meatball sandwiches, chicken sandwiches, tacos, and she even made us ice cream sandwiches on the last day and cooked a bunch of cookies for us to choose from. But I guess my favorite part and the most meaningful part of this whole trip was the community that I saw in this town of Bracketville. I've been to Bracketville twice for Army, and I've also been on my own there to go visit the Fort Clark. There's always been an outstanding sense of community. So on Thursday, we actually had a dinner for the clients that we worked for, as well as for the shower hosts, and also the people that were helping out came, such as the pastor at the local church. It was really cool seeing them all come together. There was the people that were lucky enough to help us out, and the people who needed help. They were all coming together under us being the median that allowed them all come together, which was really cool. And I just really enjoyed the sense of community in Bracketville, and I really hope that next year we can go to the same location. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, y'all. I'm Bella. So, while I was there, I was actually in a group with Chase. It was the only group with 2 of us. And for the most part, just because our team leaders weren't too experienced, we were only painting. And at first, it seemed like we weren't doing very much. It felt like it didn't really matter because everyone else was building walls and ramps and completely changing people's lives. And at first, I had a really terrible attitude. I felt like, wow, I'm just going to be painting the whole time, not actually doing anything. But once we met the people and we realized how much just a coat of paint can change somebody's entire life, I realized I was really doing God's work because actually 2 of the people we were serving were missing a leg. And I just can't imagine how powerless you can feel sometimes to not be able to do something yourself. And while I was thinking about what it would be like to just want your house to feel like a home, I realized once we started meeting these people, what a big impact we were making, and I started feeling really good and really motivated. And then the last day, because we finished like 4 sites because the painting went so fast, we were making benches for the Hope Center, which in Bracketville is kind of like a food bank type thing where people can go in there in need. And I just realized like something that seems so little to us, like, you know, like primer and a coat of paint, is like a complete life changer for other people. So while we were doing that, I knew that I was doing God's work, but I had like a really bad attitude at the beginning. I was really nervous because Kiefer Taylor Atkins wasn't coming, and I was worried about not having like a friend, a super close friend to like be there and bother. And at the beginning we had this group, and I felt like I was completely alone. And then I realized how much God was also helping us, because our last evening was the go out with your group to eat day. And we also went thrifting because my group was so excited about it. And our YAB, which I think stands for Youth Advisory Board, her name is Jordan, and she met a friend up there, but she didn't tell us. And I realized how close we all got over those couple days, because he came with us to the next place we went, and everybody, all the members of our group were like, guys, I'm about to throw hands. Like, who is this guy? And we were all like freaking out. We were like, oh, if he messes with her. And we were like getting so upset. And I realized like we were doing God's work, but God was also really working in our lives, especially for me, because I was having such a hard time, like kind of getting into this like groove of having a new group of people around me. And I realized that like just the whole experience was so, like, you didn't even realize it was happening, but it completely changed me. And the last thing I wanted to mention was my church sponsor. I was lucky enough to have someone that I knew personally. So the notes I had, or the little letters, were so inspiring, because I realized like how much support I have in the church and how much love we receive just from being part of this family. And so the whole week just felt like I opened my eyes for the first time, because I realized how important we all are together just because of our family here. So yeah.
Hello. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was our shower hosts. So I was in a group with Bella, and she covered our worksite stuff. And so our shower hosts, they were amazing. We had a guy named Mike and a lady named Kate. So at their house, they were so nice. They told so many stories about what they had done throughout their lives. And Mike had actually been helping out kids in Mexico. There was 120 kids that he paid for their education. And he didn't just consider them the kids that he was helping. He considered them as his grandchildren. I feel like that hit me like, that's where I saw God, is where he did all this stuff. He spent thousands of dollars to help these kids go to school and to get their education. So they might have been sold out of ice cream, but that's why we sold them out of popcorn. We sold all of Bracketville out of popcorn. On the first day, we ate like 8 bags of popcorn just like in an hour. And then the second day, we ate a good 10 bags of popcorn, and it just went up and up and up from there. And then they started they brought us they got chips and salsa. They had Julio's chips. They had regular corn tortilla chips, and it was amazing. They told us all these stories about, they had a big table with a lot of arrowheads that they had found, and they had told us that they only kept the ones that were not perfect. The best ones that they found, they'd given away. And then the 4 days that we had showered at their house, Mike was actually gone for the second day we were there. He was gone for a kindergarten graduation in Mexico, and then the third day we were there, he was gone for a transition from middle school to high school graduation for one of his kids. A thing that like really made me saw God also was at our second project, the lady was in a wheelchair and we were painting her ramp, and she spoke no English. She was only in Spanish, but by the end of that, you didn't have to know what she was saying to know how grateful she was. She was just about in tears and just saying, God bless you, God bless you. Thank you for all of you have done. And Army is something so great. We actually painted our last project that we painted, our third one, was actually a project that TJ, his group made last year at Army. We ended up painting it this year, and we didn't really talk to the people that much because they were inside, and they never came outside, but we knew that they were grateful by just like, whenever we were leaving, they did something. I don't exactly remember what it was, but they did something to just let us know their recognition and have their gratefulness. And thank you.
Hi, my name is Beth, and this was my first year at Army. And on the ride there, I was really, really, really excited because I was like, yeah, this is going to be great. It's going to be me and a few other people from my church. We're going to hang out. We're going to make new friends. Well, when we got there, I think I had some sort of weird emotional breakdown, and I cried a lot because I was in a group with about 3 or 4 people from Argyle, 3 or 4 people from Denton, and then I was the one person from San Marcos. And not only was I the one person from San Marcos, but I also was the youngest. And I felt really, really alone. The first morning, I ate breakfast alone because I was afraid of talking to them. But when we got out to our work site, we started scraping paint off the shed that we were working on. I felt a little less alone. And when we when we stopped for lunch, we got to stay at the boys' dorm because that was where we were working at. Our job was to scrape and paint a shed, and then we would move on to the next site. But we didn't just stop there. We decided that we also wanted to help them out by doing lawn work for them. So we cleared out a lot of the area of their fence, and we cleared out an area. There was a path of stairs that we didn't even know existed until someone had found them, and we cleared them out. And during that week, a family who went to the church that we were at, they stopped by, and they saw what we were doing, and they decided that they would help us. And so all of this week, we just had like this family of really nice guys. We had their father, who didn't really stop by that much, but he did. And then we had the 2 sons, and then we had their mom, and she was like the perfect country grandmother. She brought us cookies and lemonade. She talked to us, and I really liked her because she was a theater teacher at their high school, and I really liked her, and we connected very well. And so with the help of the people, we managed to clear it out, and then we moved on to making benches. But when I started to realize that I'm not really as alone as I think I am, and I started to think more about who I was with, the people around me. And then I started to really feel God because the people around me were amazing. They were funny and nice, and we talked, surprisingly. I was afraid to talk to them, but once I stepped out of my comfort zone, I managed to talk to a few people. The youth here really helped me like start a few steps to start to talk to the other kids, because I was so afraid of them, and I would confide in them about how I felt, and then they'd talk to me and tell me how it was okay. And whenever we went to the shower host, she was a nice woman named Valledo from Minnesota, and she had recently married her husband Felix, and they were staying at a nice house. I loved her accent, by the way. She said soda and stuff like that. It was great. I loved it. And every day we would get there, and they would just spoil us. They'd give us a tray, and it had cheese and pickles and carrots and cucumbers. And she spent like all of her time cutting up everything and setting it out for us. And then she also had her niece. I forgot what her name was, but she was 29, and she was autistic. And what she was doing was she was visiting, her niece was visiting different schools and helping other children with special needs who didn't know how to talk yet. She would teach them sign language until they got comfortable enough to talk. And I felt really touched by that because my little brother is autistic, and I guess that kind of reminded me of him in some way. And on the very last day there, we weren't really expecting much. We slept on our carpet because her carpet was amazing. She raked the carpet. She took a rake and she raked the carpet. It was great. No, we slept there a lot. And the last day there, as a parting gift, they gave everyone freshly made $2 bills, a Subway gift card, and a bit of candy. And it wasn't a lot, but it was given to us by Valledo's niece. And that really felt amazing. And then when we went out as a group to eat, we went to IHOP. And, oh my God, whoa, so much coffee. No. The two guys that were helping us out ate with us a lot too, And so they decided they would come to IHOP with us in Del Rio. There was a little bit of romance. There was a lot of bromance. It was great. We ate, and it was really great. I didn't drink coffee myself because I decided I would try to help others around me by limiting the amount of caffeine I would have. And so I sat down and I ate with them and we talked. And it was such a great time. And then we decided we'd also go to Chick-fil-A. Ugh. I really like Chick-fil-A. And then on the car ride back there, it started thundering and raining really, really hard. And so we decided the best thing to do was to put on a playlist of different songs and just jam out to them. And honestly, it was amazing. And I really loved sitting there and watching people who were hyper just sing along to country songs and old pop songs from like 2010. Oh, it was great. I felt like I could really be myself around these people. I really miss them, and I really do see God in what they do and what they're doing right now. Because some of them had a really hard time getting here, and some of them, like us, had it easier. They were just so amazing. I really saw God in the people that I was with. Yeah.
Hey, y'all. So, Army was totally tubular. It was my second year on a mission trip, same place. So what we did, we actually had 3 projects technically. The first one was to take out a ramp that had a bunch of nasty wood and put a new one in, and then we had to paint that ramp, and then deck. We had to take a deck out, put a new one in, then paint that deck and the ramp, and that was really cool. And what was really cool about being at that project is that there was this girl who had Down syndrome, and she was just kind of sitting at her door with the little I don't know what it's called, it's that little net. Screen door, yeah, there you go. and she would just kind of sit there and have a big old smile on her face and tell us how good we're doing and how she loves the color of the paint, and it was just really awesome. And then we went on to our other project, which we built a ramp for this guy, and it was a 50-foot ramp, and it was awesome. We actually had to combine 2 different groups. And he also really hit me hard because he had a walker, and he needed that ramp to go down there. So before we had to rip out stairs because he wasn't able to get in and out of his house, put that ramp in. And whenever we finish, we'll get a piece of wood, and it's like the last piece of wood, and we'll put our names on it and put it face down to where nobody could see it. But he told us that he wanted us to sign it on the railing so that he could see it every day that he went out and see our names. And so we put our names and the date and where we're from. And so everybody that went into his house could see who built the ramp for him. And that was really awesome. So then I will move on to my shower host. Our shower host was totally awesome. They were from South Dakota, and they had a lot of great stories, and they were like, I guess, RV people, so they had lived in every state in America, which was really cool, and they were just some awesome people. And so we would go, and they would have like these, I don't know, I think it's like corn, and they would like kind of throw it out in their backyard, and these deers with huge racks would just kind of come up, and just bunches of them, and they were so awesome to see. I just want to give a big thank you to my sponsor. Every card was awesome. It really helped me push through, and like in the times on Wednesday, because that's the top of the hill, and everybody just kind of gets hit really hard, and it's just everybody's so tired, and then to read those cards and just help us push through and finish it. What was really awesome about the camp is how all the other churches we all just got together, and we all became really good friends. From Argyle and Denton, those are some really cool people. And my group, Blue A, or we like to call ourselves Blue Alpha, we would always go around saying that we're the best group here, we're really awesome. And I want to finish my little spill with this funny part. We were doing a scavenger hunt, and one of the little things that we had to do was go steal a flag from one of the other groups. And so we had to go and run across this little, creek path. And so I'm running, and I'm about to jump over it, and I see this part that looks like cement. I really look like cement. And there's this other guy, Reed, and he's yelling at me, and he's like, "Don't do it, it's slime." And so I leap up, and I'm like, "What?" And then boom, and then my feet just go straight into the air. I just straight down. It was so funny, so awesome. And so after that, we went to worship, and I'm sitting in worship with half of my body just totally wet, and I'm just kind of, yeah, woohoo, worship. So yeah, thank y'all.
So if I could get the youth to stand up that went on the mission trip, please. Let's give one more round of applause. Thank you guys so much. And if I can get Jordan and any adult volunteers that went with them, because I know that was a challenge as well. Thank you. Thank you for this reminder. Thank you for this witness. I can say that, one of the joys of being a parent is being able to live your life over again, at least the childhood parts, and speaking as a dad, doing the fun stuff that, you might not be able to get away with when you were a kid, but when you're an adult, it's okay to get away with some of that stuff. But, in listening to these fine youth, I mean, What can we learn? I mean, what in their experience sounds familiar to us? A couple of them expressed that it was difficult at first. They might not have really wanted to be there. Yet, at the end of it all, they found it very rewarding. They were truly impacting lives with their time and their efforts. They were hearing stories and learning about other people and the way they lived their life and how the different experiences they had. And paying for education or the plane fare or RV travels and sharing experiences. I mean, presence is powerful. And these youth have actively demonstrated that in a way that I think it's up there with some of the best sermons, that I've heard. So definitely thank you for that. Other words I've heard, I'm not as alone as I might think. Wow. Again, from the mouths of babes, right? Not that you're babies, but, again, seeing ourselves, some of them expressed seeing themselves in others and being able to form a bond and form a relationship there. And, receiving a blessing and being yourself. Again, I think all these fine youth demonstrated for that. They were living the word, they were loving the world, and they were demonstrating the example of Christ. They gave of their time, and might I add, everybody, this is summer time that they gave. So, it's typically, very precious time in a child's life. They combined strengths, and they had a real impact. I just want to have everybody just part from here, and let's reflect on that. Let's reflect on the simplicity of service and what these folks did in being able to demonstrate the Word of God. With that, can we bow our heads in prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the examples our youth have provided us. Please help us reflect on how we can better serve you and demonstrate your example to others. Please help us carry this through our thoughts and deeds as we work throughout our days and our lives. And most importantly, in how we deal with our fellow man. In your name we pray. Amen. And with that, could I get a couple youth to help with the offering?